When I tell you I was flabbergasted, I was flabbergasted. And I shouldn't have been at how long this woman held the elevator for me. In this video, I want to share some interesting observations and surprising things, pleasantly surprising things that we've learned being here abroad as a family for a couple of months now. Look at us. So let's start with the elevator because that was the catalyst for this here listicle video was the elevator. So I know this is coming from my vantage point as a New Yorker. So somebody might even check me in the comments like that's normal behavior. But in New York, for reference, like you're not holding the elevator unless they're a few paces behind you and they're getting on the elevator with you. You're not really holding the elevator for people too tough. Or and even for me, like I have had elevators like troop, and they're looking at me like you're gonna have to get the next one, ma'am. So because if you're not close, like if somebody's coming down the hall, you're already at the elevator, you press the button, it's here. Okay, somebody's coming down all the way down the hall from their apartment. You are like, okay, if you saw them and then they saw you see them, you're probably gonna hold the elevator unless you're just trying to be a beep, you're probably gonna hold the elevator. But if you made sure you didn't see them and you avoided eye contact and they didn't see you see them, that person is get on the elevator, pressing close. Not only you're not even waiting for the doors to close on their own, they're pressing that door close, boop, close it, come on, close it faster button, and you don't have to wait for the next one. So this is my vantage point. Okay, this is why I was so flabbergasted. Okay, I was at the elevator, the button was pressed to go down into the lobby. My neighbor was also at the elevator. And this is not a neighbor that we chit chat and stuff. We just said like buenas, in passing when we see each other. So my neighbor was there, we pressed the button, we're waiting for the elevator. The elevator's like ding. But I was like, oh shoot, I forgot something in the house. So I'm like, the elevator's open, it's ding, it's here. I'm like, she gone. I'm gonna catch the next elevator. Went back into my apartment, took off my shoes. I'm Muslim, I don't wear shoes in my house. So took off my shoes, went down the hall to the bedroom where I need to grab the thing, grabbed the thing, okay, came back out, put my shoes back on, went out my apartment door, and was ready to press the button. I come around and I see that she's holding the elevator door for me. I went into my apartment, took off my shoes, went down my hall, got something, put my shoes back on, and she was still holding the elevator door for me. I was like, and I told Austin about this. He was like, yeah, he's gotten the door held for him. He's far back. It's going to take him a little while to get there. And he's had the elevator door held for him. I was like, they be holding elevator doors here. And I think the energy, in all fairness, that we come from, being from the Bronx, Brooklyn, is everybody is hustle and bustling. People don't have a lot of patience. People are on the move. It is not a situation in which they're just like la da da about where they have to go or where they have to be, coming from a New York state of mind. So coming here, there's an air of chillness. There's an air of patience. It's tranquilo. It's calm. Like unless they're behind the wheels in these cars, okay. But asterisks. But ultimately, there's this air of chill, and the pacing is different. So somebody can hold the elevator for me and longer. And this isn't even like a fluke action. It's something that we see often in our building, and it shouldn't baffle us, but it does. So yeah, I think it's a mix of maybe cultural etiquette, certain level of politeness, and that pacing where there's more patience, it's more chill, and it's nice, it's pleasant. And even in those quote unquote small gestures, we notice them. And in noticing kind and small gestures like that, you start making the shift. Now I'm like, I didn't got nowhere to go either. Let me hold this elevator door. And so I'll do that. And then, so there's that elevator door. That was the catalyst. I've mentioned this before, but again, New York state of mind. Coming from New York City, there's not a lot of trees, it's manicured trees. One of the things that I do love about the city is that I have the convenience of the city, But one thing that did surprise me about coming here was the number of trees. I look out and I see buildings, and in between you see all these trees. I'm walking down the sidewalk and I'm sometimes having to duck because there's these big overgrown trees. I'm walking down the street and you know what's right there? A mango tree. You know what's right there? A coconut tree. Someone told us, it would be really difficult to go hungry here. It would be really difficult to go hungry here because food is literally growing on the trees and nobody has a claim to the food that's on these public trees. And New York would never. You understand, pick bananas off a tree in Central Park. Like it's just not a thing. And so it was a beautiful surprise just to see all the greenery, to feel the energy of the greenery. It's not just here to manicure things, but it's also here probably because it keeps the air cleaner and it produces actual food, fruit, coconuts, bananas, and mangoes. Okay. So love that. Wonderful, pleasant surprise for me. Other thing is quick connections. I did a whole video on this, but I did not have any expectation that we were going to have any kind of social life within the first month or so. And to be invited to two birthday parties, to be able to host an iftar, for Ramadan, host an iftar and have people to invite this Sunday, to have been over to people's homes and houses, to have gone out several times with friends to just chit chat and to eat, to just having asynchronous conversation via WhatsApp. Um, it has been such a beautiful experience, and I know that it has helped me personally feel more grounded and feel at home. I've watched Ostis go out, with friends and meet up with new friends as well. And so the quick connections was definitely a beautiful surprise to me as well, because I didn't expect it. I was like, I got my family, it's gonna be me and my family. I don't expect that, our kids are not traditional schools. And, I don't expect that that's going to be a thing, that we're going to, have to take some time and put ourselves out there in order to really start to cultivate some kind of friendships and relationships. And organically, it just happens so beautifully. Not to mention that my husband met someone here that he worked with at the Apple store in Manhattan back in 2007, 2008. Met him here. Talk about 6 degrees of separation. And he's one of the people coming to the iftar. He's one of the people whose home we've been to, and we're fostering a relationship. He has been here and lived here longer, since 2012. He is of Panamanian heritage and descent, and so there's a lot that we can glean from him as well. And he's been so helpful, and that has been for me, because leaving community was the hardest thing to let go of in the States for me, more so than things or even our house. But it was leaving community, because I wasn't leaving people. I still deal with the individual people, but community. There was a moment very early on. That's what that video was about, where I felt that. And so, yeah, quick connections it was a surprise, a very, very welcome one. And sometimes I'm still surprised that it's been 8 weeks and we can say, hey, yeah, I'm going to meet so and so here, and it's wild, and I love it. I just went for after iftar tea with a friend yesterday, and I could just walk. I could just walk there. I'm not surprised about the walking, so that's not one of the things. But it's just a little extra that I could just walk. It is not as hot here as I thought it was going to be. Okay, I was ready for hot. Coming from Georgia, though, coming from Atlanta, Georgia, the outskirts of Atlanta, Georgia, it gets hot and it gets humid way well into the 90s in the summertime. And so I was kind of expecting that just all the time. And the reality is, there's so many trees that there's shade, there's a breeze, hay un sombra, y hay una brisa también, right? The shade and the breeze is there. And, I'm practicing my Spanish, y'all. So yeah, it's been comfortable in the evening around after 4. It's very comfortable. The breeze is breezing. I know that you've seen me sometimes out here in places where the wind was winding. Okay, and I'm grateful for that. I just bask in the breeze and in the wind. But yeah, so It's excuse me, don't get me wrong, it's hot. In the sun, in the direct sun, it is hot. But it's always a little partially cloudy. And so, there's you're not in the direct sun for very, very long. You're just out there in the direct sun. So it's just the perfect amount. You're basking in that warmth and that glow and that heat, and then you get a little reprieve with some shade or some cloud cover in the breeze. So one of my friends who's lived here longer than me says this is not typical, and I've only been here 8 weeks, so take that with a grain of salt. But for now, one of the wonderfully surprising things is that it's not as hot and humid feeling as we thought it was going to be. Um, the other thing, and the last thing I would say is this is a city, and again with a New York state of mind, there's certain things that I expect from a city, and there might be cities where this is not a thing, but I've been to other cities in the US as well. But you're gonna have litter here and there, you know what I mean? You're gonna have city like things because you just have people walking the streets, you know, in that it's convenient, it's city life. And so I definitely, see these things, but I also see people cleaning all the time. Not when I go into a bank or an establishment, there's somebody always sweeping, somebody always wiping something down, somebody spraying, like somebody sweeping on the outside of a storefront, and somebody even like spraying the water to clean it. Like there's always this sense that even though this is a city and, major cities with a lot of people they just have things um, that you see in terms of, upkeep and all of that. And they're doing it. They're making sure that things are clean and wiped down. And in that same vein, I see people working a lot. And that might seem a little vague. So, for example, in the States, if you go into a store and there are 12 cashier lanes, you might have 3 workers actually working, and then you have self checkout. Here, if there are 12 cashier lanes, I see 12 workers. And then I see about 8 to 10 other workers that are just there for assistance. They are working. They are out here. And I've seen that in several different establishments where there's somebody doing every aspect of a job that you can think about for that space. Somebody in the front, somebody dealing with the people, 2 people making the thing in the back, and somebody wiping, several things down. And yeah, and I think in the supermarkets, that's where I really am like, if I'm, at Price Mart or at any of the supermarkets when I'm not at the frutarias or the our local markets, just the number of people that are working in the supermarket or even in a store like a department store type of thing. There's several cashiers. There's 6 booths, maybe 2 people are working, but all 6 are filled and they are working. And that was, I think, just an observation that I had that I just thought was really cool. So yeah, those are some things since we've been here that have been a pleasant surprise for us, that have been interesting observation, that has let us in a little bit more into like the quote unquote minutia, like the microcosms of the city, the small things where you just notice this and you immediately compare to what your experience has been or what you are familiar with. But yeah, it's been cool to see the other things. So hopefully you like this little video, this short video, and just sharing a little bit about our experience here in the last couple of months. And if you did, give it a thumbs up. Thank you. If having these kind of conversations, a little lifestyle abroad and what we're learning from that, conversations that help us feel good in our own skin about ourselves and also about our relationships, if that's your vibe, please subscribe. I would love to continue the conversation with you in the comments. If anything resonated with you, what on this listicle, what was the thing that stood out for you? Was it the elevator? Was it the cashiers? Was it, oh, it's not that hot? Don't quote me on that one though. We're gonna see what's typical. Give me a little time. But I'm experiencing, this is what I've experienced so far. So far. So let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I'm Imani Aieshah, and I'm here having these conversations with you every day, at least for the next 100 days. And I believe this is video 41. So we're ripping and running. We are rolling together, and I appreciate you rolling with me. So I'll see you tomorrow.